Hey there, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. It's a great day to take the dog on a walk. I also wanted to just record a video. It's been a while since I recorded my last video, but I wanted to get on here and talk about something that I've been seeing, and you probably see it as well in your feeds, is the idea of productivity and what that looks like. And even I've fallen into the trap of looking at a bunch of the different productivity methods, the different ideas that have come up on YouTube, and fallen down those rabbit holes. So I want to go ahead and talk about what I've seen, what I've done, the things that worked for me and the things that didn't work for me, and what I use now. So see you in a bit. Whew. All right, dude, where did we leave off? I guess talking about some of the methods that are coming up right now. So you got things like the time blocking, 3 task a day method. You got your bullet journaling, and then things like Pomodoro. So starting with time blocking. If you want to think of it in a game sense, time blocking is like a turn-based situation. You're blocking specific times on your calendar, and then as soon as that's done, you move on to the next thing. Or in turn-based style, you finish one turn, move on to the next thing, and there's a strict amount of turns that you have with time blocking. So time blocking, you're setting, 8 hours for your work, and then maybe an hour for piano practice, and then an hour for reading a book, and just life doesn't really flow with time blocking, at least for me. For 3 task a day method, you want to think of that similar to like daily quests in the video game. Yeah. So like you do 3 tasks a day, hey, every day I'm going to do 3 things, similar to logging on to like Marvel Rivals or something like that. Hey, I have my tasks I need to do. Then once I check these off, I know I do 3 things every day for sure. So this can be things like ensuring that you're getting 10K steps in, making sure that you're doing your stretching, or you're going to eat somewhere specifically, or you're putting money away for something. I don't know, just anything that you want to come up with for 3 things to be productive each day. And then you have your bullet journaling. So this is like a Ubisoft game where you log on and there's just stuff all over the map. Similar with this, you have all the things that you want to do, and then you organize it in the way that best fits you. So you may have a bunch of things on your bullet journal, and then as you knock things off, you check it off, and you get that dopamine hit of, okay, I checked off one of my tasks. And then honorable mention again, Pomodoro, or Pomodoro. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, it's a system in which you work in bursts. So it can be in whatever time frame you want, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 45 minutes, but you set a specific time and you do deep work in that time. So that's actually something I use for piano practice. I'll set a Pomodoro time for 45 minutes, and I'm not allowed to look at my phone. I'm not allowed to look anywhere else, go anywhere else. I have to sit in front of that piano and focus on the work at hand for that amount of time. Once the clock goes off, then I'm able to get up and do other things, and I can stay on the piano if I want to, or I can get up and go and do something else or check social media or something like that. But with these, I've tried them all. Again, like I said earlier, just they don't really fit with how, at least for me, my life works. I'm married, I have a family, I have a full-time job. I don't have the ability to, one, time block and say, okay, I know I'm going to be doing this at 5 p.m. every day. Can't do that. My wife might need some things. There may be a family emergency. I may be helping out with family, or I may need to work over late for work. I maybe need to review something. So time blocking doesn't work for me specifically. I do it, I don't time block, but I do still use my calendar to just track things like appointments, dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, things like that, birthdays. For the 3 task a day method, I tried that for about 6 months. It was okay. I didn't feel like I was really progressing. I feel like every day was just something new, and it didn't make me feel like I was progressing forward. Like I never go back and look at the old page and see, oh, did I do this one? Okay, well, next up would be this task. So I know I need to move forward this way. And then for the bullet journaling, too messy for me. Even though what I do now was somewhat similar to bullet journaling, once I actually, explained it to you, but it doesn't work for me. It's too messy. I mean, I related it to a Ubisoft game, and I personally don't really vibe with how Ubisoft games are these days with the messy map with everything on it. So I can actually move on to what I use now is what's called Kanban or Sprint. Or what I'm doing is kind of a mixture of Kanban and Scrum. So in Apple Notes, they have a feature where you can turn a note into, or not the Notes app, the Reminders app. They have a feature where you can turn a reminder into a Kanban board. And I have it set up where all of my tasks or anything that I want to do are linked in the backlog. And then every 2 weeks is what the sprint is. I pick a few items out of the backlog and I say, hey, I have 2 weeks to do these things. I know that life is going to show up in whatever way it's going to show up. So I don't necessarily have to do this on Monday and have to do this on Wednesday, but I know at the end of these 2 weeks, I want to complete all of these tasks. And this gives me the flexibility to kind of jump in. I maybe knock them all out on one day, or I may have to spread them out throughout the 2 weeks. So that's actually the purpose of it. And I'll actually dive in deeper in that once I talk about just the life of a product manager in a different video. But because I'm a product manager, this one seems to suit me more. What I'll do is take you over to the computer and I can actually show you how mine is set up right now. I've been working through it for a while, so this is how it's set up now. Let's just go ahead and roll over here and see how I have it set up. Okay, so here's my Kanban board. So as you'll see, I have several columns here. I have backlog, in sprint, in progress, done, blocked, and complete. And these can be completely different depending on the individual. So for me, backlog is where I store everything. So if you look over here on the side, I have things like practicing my piano. I have a list of pages that I want to read in my piano book and the order in which I want to get through them. The songs I want to be able to play at some point. Some renovation projects I have here, painting doors, painting the bedroom. Let's see what else I got in the backlog. Some tech things, studying for AI certification. Oh, that one's actually done. So, complete. I will come back to that. But I have YouTube related videos in here, but mostly everything is going to be piano and reno right here because that's kind of where my focus is at the moment. I'll start to add more things here. Let's see. So in sprint are the things that I've pulled in and I at the beginning of a sprint. And again, I'm sorry, not again. My sprints start on Thursdays and run for 2 weeks. So at the beginning of the sprint, I'll have what's called a sprint planning, and I'll pull in the items that I know I want to do in these 2 week sprints. That usually goes into in sprints. I know for this upcoming sprint, I have clean up my wife's iCloud, start ear training. That's for piano, practice piano pages 91 through 100, learn chord progressions, and work on YouTube script for this video. In progress, I have practicing hand and exercises, learning major chords, and updating and organizing my Plex server. That's been sitting in here for a while because it's been pretty messed up after I got disconnected, but besides the point right now. In progress is the things that I'm currently working on. So in progress work. Once that work is done, I move it over to the done column and it kind of just sits there until the end of the sprint. And then once the sprint is done, I move everything from done over to complete. Now, if something in this sprint is blocked, like for instance, the updating and organizing the Plex server, maybe something came up where I lost my password, I'm not able to access my server, so I would put that in the notes here that having trouble understanding or logging into my server. I think I have some notes here from some of the blocked issues I had trouble understanding the Docker situation. This is what I was trying to do it through Docker. Couldn't understand it, so I had to put some blocker notes in there to understand where I left off. But essentially, this is my setup. This follows essentially what I do for work every day as a product manager. It helps me keep things organized. And then at the end of each sprint, you have what's usually called a retro. And that's when you go ahead and review what happened during the sprint. So if for some reason, let's say 4 or 5 of these items made it through to complete and maybe 2 didn't, I would need to document why I didn't complete that. So this actually keeps me accountable. And helps me push through. Like, for example, with this piano book, I stop right around this section I've started practicing this book at least 4 or 5 times. And for some reason, when I get to page 94, I just stop. Like maybe something in life happens, maybe work picks up a little bit more. But for some reason, when I get to 94, I always stop. So this has actually been helping me push through. And I can actually kind of gauge how long it's going to take me to complete this book if I stay at this pace of around 10 pages each sprint. And if for some reason I finish the 10 pages way earlier, I can pull in more work and actually get that done quicker. But I know ahead of time, I know, okay, it's going to take me about 7 sprints to knock out this book. But if I stick with it and push hard, I can get it done quicker. So I know how long or what's the longest it would take. And then things that just pop up that are mundane things like cleaning up my wife's iCloud. Something I can do in 5 minutes, but just something I needed to note and add to my backlog list of things I need to take care of. A lot of people who usually call this the honey-do list, but this is just where I keep it all. And if you go online and look up Kanban and Scrum boards, they're all going to look a lot different than this. Again, this is something that Apple has available in their Reminders app, and it's a very bare bones version. Like I would prefer to have things like a feature or Epic that I can tie some of these to instead of just having just the tags here to remind myself what this is for. Because if I had a feature or an epic of I want to be able to play Claire de Lune, I would have features and stuff under that or stories to lead me up to that point to get to there. So things would be a little bit more organized. Right now, it's just specific cards, and I wouldn't even really consider these cards just something that helps me organize it. So that actually leads me to my next point. I'm actually thinking about investigating other methods. I've heard about Trello and that they have a product management portal or web page or something like that that's available via your phone, computer app. That'll give you more features than this. I actually recommend if somebody has a free version or a light version of something that you're considering trying, go with the free version first to make sure that it actually works for you. Me doing this, let me know, okay, I can stick with this. This is something that works for me. Let me go and find something a little bit more premium to make sure that I'm getting what I need out of it. And then you can also use things. I know a lot of people are huge Notion fans. I've given it a shot. It just doesn't work for me. I don't like how Notion is set up and how slow it runs, at least for me. Maybe I need to dive in a little bit more, but I've made a couple Notion boards to try to be a little bit more productive there, and I just didn't like the setup there. And I also didn't like the way it looked on mobile. So I need to have me a good mobile and computer setup. How does this work for you? So for me, you see I have things like piano and renovation tasks. You can do this kind of setup for anything. This can be a good backlog for tracking movies, TV shows that you want to watch. If you want to catch up, I know a lot of people are considering if you're watching anime, watching One Piece, if you haven't already started. That show is 1,000 episodes, over 1,000 episodes. So something like this, similar to the pages, you can have, I'm going to watch at least 10 episodes in 2 weeks. And you can track how long it'll take you to catch up to wherever everybody else is. I know I stopped around like 500 something. So we'll start that back up at some point. But you can use this for personal development. You can do this for tracking some of your workouts. I know that I want to get 5 good workout days in here in this sprint. You can have that checked out on this and make sure that you get those specific days in there. Or you can set this up for exploring. Maybe you're in a new city and I want sprints for exploring a new city that I'm in. I found these new things on Instagram. Let me just add them to the backlog of places that I want to try out. And in this sprint, I know I want to go to these 2 places. And then I also want to try this new thing. So yeah, you can make this work for anything. And then you can also make it work for video games. Like I said, tracking a backlog of games that you want to play, throw them all in here. And then in the game or in your sprint. And again, for me, sprints are 2 weeks. You can make a sprint as long as you want to, but again, you got to think about the word. It needs to be a sprint. So it's usually 2 weeks. But again, this is up to you. Whatever works for you. This works for me. This is how I've stayed consistent and stayed up to speed on everything that I'm doing. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll probably post an updated video once I switch over to something else, which will probably be Trello. I'll look into that this weekend. But we all need to just kind of stay on it and stay ahead of what we need to do. Anyway, so this is the setup that I use to stay productive and track the things that I need to do around the house and within my life. Again, take this and experiment with it. Try something different that I haven't done. And then if you have tried anything different, please put it in the comments so I know what you've been doing. I may incorporate that in mine because you guys posted a lot of great comments in that Steam Deck video. I learned a lot more about the Steam Deck than I did being an owner. So I appreciate all of you that jumped in there and gave me some advice. So which method do you use? How do you track the things that you're doing and stay productive? Do you have a daily journal? Do you do bullet? Do you do the 3 task method? Do you try out Pomodoro? Just let me know. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting me. This has been super humbling, and I'm grateful for anybody that checks out any video. So thank you, like and subscribe. Enjoy your day. Peace.